How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we are back with another FPL video. And today we're on Wildcard. It's game week 8. Apologies for doing the video so late in the week, but it's actually helped us out because we've got a little bit more information on some of the flags we have in our team. As you can see, we have a few of them, and we're going to be talking about Wildcard this week. I am on a Wildcard this week for game week 8, so we'll go over that very shortly. But let's take a look at how the team did last week briefly, so we can get a reasoning as to why I was going to Wildcard. So, we also have FPL.team in play as of today as well. That's going to help us plan for the future because there might be a certain decision that I'm considering that not a lot of managers might be thinking at the moment because it's a very dangerous one, and that is going without Erling Haaland. So let's take a look at the team here. So we have Turner in goal, who got 3 points. Unfortunately, Johnson kept a clean sheet versus the club that I support, which is Manchester United. Not in a great place at the moment, but 3 points is better than 2, so we'll take that. Trippier and Cher. Cher was our free transfer. We brought him in for Ben Chilwell, who was injured. Anderson was blocked, as well as Saliba was blocked on my bench after Sterling came on and got booked and didn't get any points. Estupinian -2. Not ideal either, although there is questions about the foul in the build-up. Saka 9 points is most likely going to play this week, in my opinion. Diaby is most likely going to play this week, in my opinion. Phil Foden, just the 2 points. Raheem Sterling, like we mentioned, 0. Matoma, 1. Haaland with just the 2 points. And Alvarez with the 8 points, with Anderson's 15, Saliba 6, and Johnston's 9 on my bench, which is not ideal. So that is the team for last week. Only a small red arrow to 329k. Not the worst in the world. Had Saliba come off our bench, we would have had a green arrow. But again, bit unfortunate there. So let's go to FPL.team. So for those that don't know, FPL.team is a fantastic website that you can use to plan out your transfers and what your team will look like in the weeks ahead. As it currently stands, it says I have 1.1 million in the bank. I can tell you how much I have after I've done the transfers. Actually, we'll check right now. I have 3.1 because I can show you what transfers I've done so far. But we'll use that later on to kind of go through the team. So, who would I want to get rid of? Guaranteed sure shot thing in my team as it currently stands. Well, the goalkeepers potentially are okay, actually. Turner, just by the fact that he's 4 million. Might lose his place, but again, it's 4 million. If we need the 0.1, which we probably don't, we'll have to see how that pans out later down the line as to if we can get Haaland back, because we're going to be planning on getting rid of him. Sam Johnson, we're going to be getting rid of. I will put in Areola, who is somebody who we have already gotten in at the moment. Areola is in, so that'd be one player, one change. Let's hit the wildcard button on here so you can see the infinite transfers there. Kieran Trippier, I'm perfectly happy to hold. Fabian Cher, perfectly happy to hold. Purvis Stupinian has been gotten rid of so far for Matty Cash, just because he was going up in price. And we got that price rise. We also kept Joachim Anderson. And lastly, we got rid of William Saliba. And we brought in Pedro Porro, who we also got before the price rise. So the back line would probably look something along the lines of probably something like this at the moment. So far we've made 2 changes in defense after making a change in defense the previous week, as well as a change in goal. So that's 3 changes so far. Out of the midfield, the only one that we want to keep is Diaby, and that's under the assumption that he is fit, which I think he will be. The problem seems to be minor. He'll probably be definitely fit for after the international break, where 3 home games and 4 for Villa are quite good, as well as against 3 very good opposition in Luton, Forest, and Fulham. Bukayo Saka, someone who's been constantly getting subbed off, injured, or it seems to be carrying something. We're going to be getting rid of him. We're going to be bringing in the informed Son. We got him in before his 2 price rises. Phil Foden, somebody who has done, well enough in recent weeks. We got rid of him, and we brought in James Maddison before he rose back up to 8 million. Just with City on the whole, I'll talk about like why I'm getting rid of them just in general. Raheem Sterling made way for the in-form and soon-to-be good fixtures Jared Bowen. We got him in for the price change as well. And Karu Matoma is coming out for, you guessed it, Mo Salah, and we got him in before the price changes as well. So that's 4 midfield changes, 2 defensive changes thus far, for a total of 6 plus a goalkeeper, making a 7th change. In the forward line, we're also getting rid of Nicholas Jackson for the in-form Ollie Watkins. Watkins will be coming straight into the team. I believe we currently have Alvarez, or we might have gotten potentially rid of Alvarez. Let's see. Do we still do have Alvarez. And then Erling Haaland is currently out for Archer at the moment. Because Archer was potentially going to go up in price, but it's going to be the 4.5 that we would probably want. So Archer would drop to the bench here. We would play Alvarez. We play Alvarez over Cash here. Our captain would be, let's say Salah. We'll make Son our vice captain as an example. So that's basically what the team would probably thereabouts look like as it currently stands. So it'd be 9 changes, and we're still looking to potentially get rid of Julian Alvarez as well. Now, this team is the current one I have in my transfers, but the difference is 0.9 million. So we have a lot to play around with. So we have, as you can see, Areola and Turner, Cash, Anderson, Shaw, Trippier, Pedro Porro, Salah, Madison, Son, Bowen, Diaby, Julian Alvarez, Ollie Watkins, and Archer. If we were to sell Alvarez as an example, we bought him at 6.9. We didn't get him when he was much lower, much cheaper, so he would be a problem in terms of we'd have to buy him back for more expensive. In terms of players that are potentially going down tonight, it seems like Erling Haaland might be going down. That doesn't affect us. He's 14.1, which means we can buy him back at what we sold him for, which would be great. In terms of players we've gained value on at the moment, we gained no value on Areola. We got him a little bit later. He went up to 4.2 before like I wanted to activate the wild card, which was after the Chelsea game was when I activated it. Matty Cash, we've got the price rise. Anderson, we've got his price rise from jump because we've had him since the beginning. We've got Shares, we've got Trippiers, we got Poros, we got Salahs, we got Madisons, we got both of Sons, we got Bowens, we've gotten Diaby because we've had him recently. We got Watkins back to his original price. So we're pretty good there. So let's talk about planning. So let's say this was the team I wanted to go with moving forward, as an example. Or let's go even spicier. Let's go with something like Darwin Nunez, who I'm also thinking about as well in the forward line. Let's say that's the team we wanted to go with. We captain Salah or Son. Again, those logistics don't really matter all too much. So that would be 10 total changes. That'd be 2/3 of the team being swapped out. And that's also under the assumption we want to still keep Shar, we want to still keep Cash, these sorts of things. In reality, what we probably do is probably downgrade Share, probably keep Cash, and go to the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And then we could downgrade, we could potentially downgrade Anderson as an example to a cheaper defender. We can downgrade Pedro Porro to maybe Udogie. We could downgrade Trippier, but I think having Darwin instead makes the most sense. So 1.7 million in the bank. So how is the team going to look? Well, this is how it's going to go. Game week 8, that would be, let's say, the team. Game week 9 rolls around, assuming no injuries from the international break. We're perfectly happy with captaining either Salah or Son at home to Fulham or at home to Everton. That week, Manchester City have Brighton at home, which arguably is as good of a fixture. So we'll keep that in mind. Also, in this team, I'm going to take out Alvarez, and I'm going to put in Darwin just so we can see how much. We have 2.6 million, so the difference is 0.9. At home, Watkins says West Ham at home. If Turner is still potentially playing, we could potentially throw him in there over Areola. If he's not, then Areola will come in for us. No big deal there. Fabian Schär will come in versus Crystal Palace. We'll play Pedro Porro, and we'll play the team as is. In the event, we could also play Matty Cash as well. But having Bowen go up against the defender is not the greatest. But what we could do is we could put Cash like first sub or something like that. Don't need to make any changes here, and don't plan to if things come out good on the other side. Then we could put Areola back in as we would normally want. We got Cash versus Luton. We'd want to bring him in there. This is where we would probably swap out probably Fabian Schär versus Wolves away. Cash versus Luton looks to be quite good. Maybe Pedro Porro versus Crystal Palace away. It's a bit of a tricky one, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. The one thing that we do want to do, however, is we want to bring in an Arsenal player. And the reason being is because Arsenal have Sheffield United at home in game week 10. Manchester City go away to Man United. But I think I'm quite comfortable with captaining either Bukayo Saka versus Sheffield United or Mo Salah at home to Nottingham Forest. So I think we have to have Saka at a minimum. So I think we could potentially get rid of James Maddison. Although in away fixtures, James Maddison has been quite good. But I think we can definitely downgrade our, our Spurs players, just keeping Son. So we can go Bukayo Saka in Sheffield United. We can also then get rid of Pedro Porro if we wanted to for... because now we've got the two good fixtures we want out of him. And we could bring back in an Arsenal defender. Gabriel being 4.7 is pretty much a steal as long as Zinchenko is fit. Now 1.5 million. We'd have plenty left in the bank. We'd have 2.4 based on the sell. Or no, it'd be Maddison. We would, assuming he doesn't go up in value, we would lose 0.1, and Pedro Porro we'd lose 0.1, assuming they both don't go up. So we'd have 0.7 additional, which means we'd have 2.2 million in the bank from here. Game week 10 rolls around. Arsenal do go to Newcastle, which is a bit tougher, and Spurs do play Chelsea at home. A lot of tough ties here. If Darwin plays in this one, would be great. We definitely want that. Anderson versus Burnley looks to be quite nice. We could potentially play him over Gabriel. We're perfectly okay with that. Don't need to make any further changes, I wouldn't think. We still have bench coverage all the same. In game week 11, Manchester City do play Bournemouth, which is a fixture we still want to have a little piece of, even if we don't have Erling Haaland. I do think, however, that Salah versus Luton away is still as good of a fixture. Yes, the Bournemouth at home fixture makes more sense, but Salah away to Luton is quite good. However, what we might end up doing is bringing in a Manchester City player to basically, kind of assist with that. Archer up to Julian Alvarez is not an option. We only have 0.7 million extra in the bank, so that is something we cannot do. We can go for a City midfielder, however. Jared Bowen still has a very good run of fixtures, and we want to keep him for those. Diaby has a very good run of fixtures up until and including game week 15. Bukayo Saka, we could potentially do a bit of a hokey-cokey with him and maybe Phil Foden. But maybe we just have to kind of ignore City for that one. If we don't want to get rid of, maybe Darwin Nunez has fallen out of favor, maybe we could get rid of him for this one if we knew he wasn't going to start. In these fixtures, let's take a look in game week 11. Let's see when Liverpool play. Liverpool don't play till the Sunday, so we won't know basically the kind of outcome, which is a bit unfortunate. So maybe we can go Darwin to Julian Alvarez. That is a possibility. But after that, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Spurs at home, Aston Villa away. It's only really game week 16 where we really want Haaland back, guaranteed to be a captaincy choice. So we're definitely going to have rid of Nunez probably by game week 13 for sure, when he goes to play Man City. Liverpool, basically their good fixtures kind of run out for a couple and then get good again, but then Nunez will probably become a rotation risk by the time these fixtures come back into play, where we could still keep Salah. So let's see how we're going to do that. So our goal is we want double City at a bare minimum by the time we get to game week 16. So let's keep that in mind. So let's just say we hold here. Let's just say we hold. We completely ignore the City, kind of the City fixtures. For Bournemouth, it's a one-off. We have Salah, we have Nunez. We think they're going to do as well versus Luton. If for whatever reason we do get the inkling that Darwin's not going to start, we can always go Alvarez if we need to. So let's just throw him in there. We would lose 0.1 on this deal because we'd have to buy Alvarez back for 0.1 more than we sold him for, which means we have 2.5 million in the bank. Game week 12. Game week 12, we can field the team pretty much as per. Our defenders have a lot of good fixtures in this game week. Fabian Schär, Bournemouth away, Trippier away, Cash at home to Fulham I like. I also like Gabriel at home to Burnley as well. Burnley have a bit of a set piece issue, as do Everton kind of, so it's a bit of a tough one in this one. I think all our defenders could do quite well. Maybe Julian Alvarez away to Chelsea is worth benching if we think he's not going to play. In terms of captaincy, Saka versus Burnley at home is perfectly fine. Jared Bowen versus Forest is probably for a bit of a differential. Son and Salah are always going to be good picks, I think, in this one. Salah versus Brentford, it's always a fiery game between those two. For some reason, Thomas Frank just likes to play quite expansive in that one. But we don't need to make any changes there. Game week 13, so Newcastle's fixtures are still good. They have 2 home fixtures versus United Chelsea. I think they win both of those, by the way. So I'm perfectly happy with putting Trippier in there for that one. I think that Joachim Andersen versus Luton away can come straight in here. Gabriel versus Brentford away it's a bit of a tricky one, or has been for Arsenal. Cash versus Spurs, I think Spurs still score, but could be a fiery affair back and forward. Villa's fixtures after the Bournemouth one start to get a bit tricky, but this is where we can start to alleviate some of our funds. Julian Alvarez also plays Liverpool at home. It's a bit of a dicey one, so maybe we can potentially make some changes here. I think we potentially have to. So maybe what happens here is we look to potentially bring in or downgrade somebody to free up some funds. Who is it going to be? Let's see. How are we going to do this? Yeah, Salah and Alvarez play each other. Who has the best captaincy fixture this week? I mean, Man United have Everton away. Captaincy's not great for this game. I mean, Brighton versus Forest away is a potential option. Maybe this is where we can bring back in, or maybe we could have brought back in Pervis Estupiñán in game week 10. That is also a possibility. But our defenders are still quite good. So we don't really want to have to deal with that. All things considered. If we go back to game week 10, I mean, Luton at home, Sheffield United at home. Forest away, Burnley away. Still pretty good. Bournemouth away, Fulham at home. I don't really think we necessarily need a Estupiñán in this instance. Game week 13, maybe this is where we can bring a Estupiñán back in if we wanted to. We have to pay more money for him, but his fixtures actually aren't that great. And maybe he might be rotated anyway because of the fact that he has Europe to deal with, which Brighton haven't started off the greatest in. This is also a potential option for where we could start to look to downgrade other players. Like I said, freeing up funds for Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is at home. This isn't the time to switch Salah. I think you give Salah the Fulham at home in the Sheffield United game, and then you flip him in 16 for Erling Haaland when he has Luton. So I think it basically is going to come down to if there's an injury or not, or it could be a situation where we just take share where we're not going to use him basically anymore realistically. Let's just take him and just sell him for, let's just go Charlie Taylor as an example. Actually, no, we'll go Bear just because 4 million makes some sense. So instead of 0.5 million, actually we're 0.4. So now we're at 3.3 million. Gameweek 14, we still have 2 free transfers. Fixtures look good. Cash would probably come in for Bournemouth. Anderson away to West Ham is a bit of a tricky one. Gabriel at home to Wolves is perfectly fine. Son away to City, we're perfectly happy with that, all things considered. Jared Bowen at home to Crystal Palace, we definitely like. Diaby away to Bournemouth, Saka at home to Wolves. I think all of these are perfectly fine. Again, no real issues here. The only thing we can consider is potentially downgrading one of our defenders, really, and going from there is the only thing that I can basically think of. We have the captaincy sorted. Maybe it is a situation where we could use these 2 free transfers to finally get in Haaland, maybe. Can we do it if we got rid of Son? So if we got rid of Son and we brought in, let's say, McAtee. Let's see how far down we can go. And we went Archer up to Haaland. We would still need a little bit extra in the tank. We need about like 1.5 million or thereabouts. How do we do that? Well, we can get rid of Trippier here, and potentially bring in another defender. Chelsea's fixtures don't get good till 16, so again, this is where we'd like to kind of stave off potentially the the temptation to bring in Erling Haaland. So I think we might just keep it and then look to potentially make like a downgrade. So Trippier home to Man United. Again, we don't want to get rid of him. Maybe it is a situation where we kind of just look to slowly dwindle away some of our players here. Or we could just burn a transfer. I mean, let's just say we burn a transfer, because at most we're going to use 1 here. At most we're going to use 1. Game week 15. All right, Villa's got City. That's a bit tricky. Maybe this is where we can bring in Haaland as well. Anderson we can put in for Matty Cash. It's perfectly fine. Salah's got Sheffield United, so we're perfectly happy with that. Watkins has Man City at home and has a tough run. We might want to consider him back for Sheffield United, but these 3 fixtures in a row are still very difficult in general. If we got rid of Watkins and we brought in Erling Haaland, how much money in the bank would we need to get rid of? We could get rid of Diaby. We could bring in McAtee. If we wanted to drop it right down. And then we would need about 0.5 to 1 million extra. And that would just basically be something simple like going from a Matty Cash to like a much cheaper defender. Like a Dan Burn or something like that. Somebody at around the full... We would have around 0.5-ish million. So again, it would just be somebody in that smaller bracket. If it's down to a much cheaper defender, then sure. We'd have to cross that bridge when we get there. But for argument's sake right now, let's just put it to Kabore, because we would still have 0.5 million-ish or so in the bank with the team. We'd have to play one of these players, however, which is unfortunate. So what we might have to do is Son has West Ham at home, but still has really good fixtures up until and including game week 20, where we kind of want to keep him for that. So we might have to sacrifice somebody elsewhere. Bowen has Spurs away, Fulham away, Wolves at home. Wolves at home is the only really good one, all things considered. So maybe it is a situation where we have to get rid of Jared Bowen and Diaby. So get rid of Watkins, get rid of Bowen, get rid of Diaby. So we get rid of Bowen. We could bring in potentially a Manchester City midfielder, maybe. But McAtee, could come in. Maybe we still keep Diaby, because we can play cash in over McAtee if we wanted to, and that's for 2 free transfers. That is, again, an option. But again, price changes could dictate things and that sort of stuff. And then game week 16, I mean, we're looking pretty good. I know it says 0.3 million, but we still have about 0.2-ish in the bank. That's assuming no price changes, nothing. Our defense would be a bit of an issue. We'd have Trippier versus Spurs, Anderson versus Liverpool, Cash and Gabriel going against each other. That's not ideal. So we might just have to, again, hold off on the Haaland move until game week 16. So if we undid this, undid this, undid that, and we just, let's say, hypothetically rolled, or we did like, I don't know, I mean, we can go like Watkins to, can't even go Watkins to anyone really. Do you want to Chelsea's fixtures is 16. If Nkunku's back, I mean, I don't think he will be, but if he is, that'd be a great place to go. Yeah, maybe again it's just kind of a roll type thing, or we could just downgrade Cash to, again, like a much cheaper defender. Then here you can go Watkins out, or you don't even have to do Watkins out. You potentially just hold him for these fixtures. Do Archer out, Haaland in, Haaland comes in, Salah's out. Get rid of Salah for a cheaper midfielder. You can go like a Gordon or somebody like that. Bench him. And then run this team out there. Yes, you have a lot of teams playing against each other. Anderson at home to Liverpool isn't great. This is maybe a situation where you can go from Cash to Chelsea defender or something like that, maybe. And then game week 17, you have all your much better fixtures in there. Gordon can come in for Diaby away to Brentford if you want to play Watkins. There's a bunch of different ways you can slice it. But at the current moment, this is the team I currently have. This is how I'm currently set up on the wild card. Again, this can certainly change with potential price changes or potential news. I'm going to see what happens with the price changes. I'm going to see if there's any embargo quotes that come out later. See how that goes. The early game is the Spurs-Luton one, but it seems like all the players that I currently have from Spurs are going to be good to go for that one. It's just a matter of potentially Diaby. I don't think we're going to get any news for that, apart from the fact that he wasn't in the squad on Thursday. Said he was probably going to be in contention for the weekend, so that would be the only one. We do have a good sub in Anderson, as well as Cash at the moment. Cash would definitely be second sub there. So that is how we have it at the moment. Again, still potentially looking at Julian Alvarez. Maybe we hang on to him. Maybe we punt Darwin Nunez for the 1 week. and see how we go from there. But that's going to do it for this one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And that's going to be my Game Week 8 wildcard. I will post the final team over on Twitter, so make sure to check that out. It's PilotFam226 on all platforms. And until next one, take care.